Hi all, myself Dr. K. Ashok, Associate Professor of Physics, Marri Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. Today I am going to discuss about the pin photodiode. First of all, what is a photodiode? Photodiode is nothing but which converts optical energy into electrical energy. The working of the photodiode is opposite to the LED. What is the basic function of LED? LED converts electrical energy into optical energy. But in case of photodiode, which converts optical energy into electrical energy. Under photodiode, we have two topics. One is pin photodiode, another is avalanche photodiode. In this session, we will discuss about pin diode and avalanche photodiode. Basically, what is a pin diode? Basically, pin diode consists of p-type semiconductor and n-type semiconductor. In between p-type and n-type semiconductors, we are inserting a intrinsic layer. How will we obtain a p-type semiconductor? Basically, we will consider intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor examples are germanium or silicon. Most of the cases in application oriented, we will use silicon as the host material. Silicon is doped with trivalent impurities. Trivalent impurities examples are aluminum is the best example for trivalent. So when you add silicon with trivalent impurity, then you will get the p-type semiconductor. In this p-type semiconductor, majority charge carriers are holes, minority charge carriers are electrons. Again, this silicon is doped with pentavalent impurities. Pentavalent impurities, best examples are arsenic and phosphorus. When you dope pentavalent impurities to intrinsic semiconductor, we will get n-type semiconductor. N-type semiconductor means majority charge carriers are electrons and minority charge carriers are holes. Here this p-type semiconductor and n-type semiconductors, in between those two semiconductors, we are inserting a intrinsic layer. This p-n junction diode, we can operate in two modes. One is forward biasing mode and another is reverse biasing mode. What is forward bias? When P side is connected to positive terminal of the battery and N side is connected to negative terminal of the battery, then the diode is said to be forward biased. Next, reverse bias. What is the reverse bias? When P side is connected to negative terminal of the battery, N side is connected to positive terminal of the battery, then the diode is said to be reverse bias. Usually, LED we will operate in forward bias. But in photoconducting means whenever we consider photo detector or photodiode, usually we will operate in reverse bias. What is the reverse bias? P side is connected to positive terminal of the battery, P side is connected to negative terminal of the battery, N side is connected to positive terminal of the battery. The symbol of the photodiode you can see here. The symbol of photodiode is very much similar to LED, but LED symbol is like this. In the LED, the light is going out, means which converts electrical energy into optical energy. Light is giving out. In case of photodiode, the light is coming inside, which means photodiode takes optical energy and converting it into electrical energy. Next, we will discuss about its working. Here, the P side is, you observe here, we kept plus symbol. What is the meaning of here plus? Heavily doped. P side is heavily doped. Whenever you dope heavily, the majority charge carriers, that is holes, are more available. When you consider N side, here N plus, N is also heavily doped, so that majority charge carriers here are electrons. More number of electrons are available. When more charge carriers are available, obviously the resistivity is low. The resistivity of P side and the resistivity of N side is very low. When we consider intrinsic semiconductors is nothing but what? No doping. When no doping happens, the resistivity is very high. So this is the structure of the pin diode. Now, on this pin diode, when we incident light, what happen? See, whenever we incident light on this pin photodiode, this is the intrinsic layer. Intrinsic layer is made up of with silicon. So silicon is covalently bonded with neighboring silicons. So these all are covalently bonded. Covalently bonded. This is silicon. This is also silicon. Whenever light of sufficient energy, what is the meaning of here sufficient energy? When we consider band theory, the highest occupied band is called valency band. The lowest unoccupied band is called conduction band. So the gap between these two bands is called energy gap. Present case, we are using silicon. What is the silicon energy gap? 1.1 electron volts. Here the sufficient energy means 1.1 electron volts. At least you have to supply. Whenever you supply sufficient energy, then this covalent bond breaks down. This electron will excite to conduction band. Electron is going to conduction band and hole is appeared in valency band. Like that, electron hole pairs are formed. Whenever sufficient energy is incident on intrinsic layer, this photon interaction with the electron takes place. Electron hole pairs are generated. In the depletion layer, this is nothing but it acts as a depletion layer. What is the meaning of depletion layer? No charge carriers are available. In intrinsic semiconductor also, no charge carriers are available. Why? It is undoped. When you incident this light on this depletion layer of sufficient energy, this covalent bond breaks down and electron and hole pairs are created. Already I told this pin diode is usually operated in reverse bias. Here this is negative terminal. So this negative terminal attracts the hole because positive. That's why holes are drifted towards the p side and electrons are drifted to n side as n side is connected to positive terminal. Before its recombination, the electron hole pairs are drifted because of the operating reverse voltage. In this manner, voltage is developed. Here, whatever the voltage is developed, this is purely because of the light incident on photodiode. That's why this current is called photocurrent. The photocurrent is directly proportional to intensity of the incident light. Suppose if you increase the brightness of the light, what is the meaning of brightness of the light? More number of photons you are incidenting. When more number of photons here incidenting, what happened? More electron hole pairs are generated. More electron hole pairs are generated. They are drifted in opposite directions. Electrons are moving towards the n side and holes are moving towards the p side, which in turn the current is increasing. Here, if the light is incidenting instead of depletion layer, let it be it is incidenting on p side or n side, what happened? When p side and n side the light is incidenting, what happened means the energy is absorbed. So the energy is absorbed, the electron is excited to higher energy level. After certain intervals of time, again the recombination takes place by liberating the energy in the form of phonon. Because these all are indirect band gap semiconductors. In indirect band gap semiconductors, when electron and hole pairs are recombined, then energy is liberated in the form of heat. That's where thermal energy is increased. But what is the use of it? No use of it. What is our main intention of this pin diode? The main intention of the pin diode is to detect the incident light. So the brightness of the incident light. This is possible only when the light is incident on intrinsic layer. In the intrinsic layer, before its recombination, whatever the reverse field we are applying, that separates the electron and hole pairs. So electron and hole pairs are separated by this field. In this manner, we can detect the whatever the light incident on the pin. This is about the pin working. What is pin working? Whenever light of sufficient energy, which is greater than around approximately 1.1 electron volts, then what happened? Electron hole pairs are generated in intrinsic layer. These electron hole pairs are drifted in opposite direction. Electrons are drifted towards the n side, holes are drifted towards the p side because of the application of the reverse voltage. This causes the generation of the current. That current is called photocurrent. This photocurrent, whatever we will represent with ip, is proportional to number of charge carriers generated and charge of the electron, because the charge carriers are here having charge of electron. That's why we are talking. This is the current generated in photodiode. Usually the pin diodes we will operate at low voltage. So because of the low voltage operation, the sensitivity is compared to other photodiodes is little less. So these are the advantages of the pin diode. Mainly different, because depending on its operating voltage, we will have different applications. But what are the advantages of the pin diode? Means usually we operating voltage of the pin diode is very low. Here reverse operating voltage is very low. When operating voltage is low, automatically the noise is less, and even this cost is very low because this is a PN junction diode. Basically, we are developing this PN junction diode based on silicon. On the earth, silicon is abundant. That's why its cost is cheap. And here, when we talk efficiency, what is the efficiency here? The conversion of photons into electron hole pairs. Whatever the light incident on the pin diode and which is converted into electron and hole pairs. This efficiency is very high. So here other photodiode, we can say it as solar cell. The main function of the solar cell is to store the solar energy, but there we are not using that solar for sensing the light. Their efficiency is low. But when you consider pin diode, whatever the light incident on it, we are converting it into electrical energy. Main purpose of pin diode is to sense the light, the brightness of the light. Some of the disadvantages also we can observe. Here sensitivity point of view, the sensitivity is less. Why? Because operating voltage is very less. That's why sensitivity is less. No internal gain. This internal gain I will discuss little later in avalanche photodiode. What is the internal gain? Internal gain means instead of incident photons, some of the current is generated in depletion layer. But here it won't be generated. Why? Because operating voltage is low. And small area of focusing. So here when you observe the pin diode, in the pin diode, this is p-type semiconductor, this is intrinsic layer. Here only we are incidenting the light, but this area of focusing is small. And slow response time. This slow response time, how we can say, means we are using the operating voltage. This operating voltage is very small. That's why its response time is slow. Though these are the advantages we have with pin, we are using so many applications. Mainly this is used in radio frequency switches and nuclear radiation detectors. Whenever the nuclear reaction takes place, there some radiation will be produced, alpha rays, beta rays, gamma rays. To detect any radiation is moved away from the chamber, that you can detect with this photo detector pin. And even this pin diode we are using in CD players. In CD players, the data are retrieving So totally we will save the like music inside the CD player in the form of light. That light receivers only we are using pin diode. That's way in CD players and DVD players we will use to retrieve the data. So this is about the applications of the pin photodiode. Next, I am going to discuss about the avalanche photodiode. Avalanche photodiode is also very much similar to the pin diode. What is the major difference? Major difference, the pin diode we are operating at lower voltages. Avalanche photodiode we are operating at very high voltage. Why we are operating high voltage? In pin, the major drawback is sensitivity, low sensitivity. Response time is also slow. To increase the response time and quick response time and greater level of sensitivity, they developed APD. APD, the main function is to convert optical energy into electrical signal or electrical energy. But here you observe the operating voltage is very high. So how we will operate and what is the function we will discuss, no problem. But here the output voltage, whatever the output current produced is not linear. When we consider pin diode, the output current is linear. Why? Because we are operating low voltage. Whatever the current produced in pin diode, that is due to the incident light only. Now when you consider APD diode, see this is the APD diode and here this is the light taking in. Usually all photodiodes, that is like pin APD Schottky diodes, these all are operated in reverse bias mode. This reverse bias is nothing but a photoconductive mode. So this is a real-time photodiode where we are using in our regular life. See, this is the area of focusing. The light is incident on that photodiode. Mainly in the name only itself is there, APD. A stands for avalanche, P stands for photo, D stands for diode. Avalanche photodiode. What is this avalanche? What is this avalanche effect? This avalanche effect, simply you understand, you observe a person is smoking, then at his mouth the smoke area is very less. As the smoke is traveling away from his mouth, what happened? It is spreading in all directions quickly. The similar fashion happens here. Initially, the photon will incident. This I will show you in the the APD diode. First, what is avalanche effect? That avalanche effect I am discussing here. Whenever a photon is incident, what happened? One electron hole pairs are created. Simply how they are created? Whenever light of sufficient energy is made to incident, then what happened? This is valency band, this is conduction band. Before incidence of light, the electrons are in valency band. Whenever light of sufficient energy is incident, then what happened? Covalent bond breaks down, electron will be excited to conduction band. Electron hole pairs are generated. But this electron is moving with high speed. So that's why what happened, collision will takes place. Because of this electron with a high speed collision, what happened, this is parent electron and another electron will be generated. Again, these two electrons also moving in same high field. Again, collision. This is one electron and this is another electron. This is another electron and this. Like that, multiplication of the charge carriers are taking place. In this manner, quickly, the amount of charge carriers will increase. That's why the output is not linear. You supply same voltage. First time if you get like 2 microamperes of current, second time same voltage you apply, then you may get 3 microamperes. Like this, the output current is not linear in APD. Now we will see the APD structure. See, basically APD contains P region, okay, and then see P plus region. P plus region means what? Heavily doped P-type semiconductor. N plus region is what? Heavily doped N region. The structure is very much similar to See, this is the P plus and this is the N plus and this is the intrinsic layer. In addition to this one layer, that is nothing but P-type semiconductor also they kept. This region they kept to increase the number of charge carriers by the application of avalanche effect. So whenever the light of sufficient energy is incident here, what happened? This is the intrinsic layer. Basically, intrinsic layer is made up of with silicon. Silicon is covalently bonded with neighboring silicon. Neighboring silicon. These are the covalent bonds. So whenever light of sufficient energy incident on intrinsic layer, when you observe intrinsic layer, this is the scenario. So when you observe based on the band theory, this is the band, highest occupied band is called valency band, the lowest unoccupied band is called conduction band. Whenever the light of sufficient energy is incident on intrinsic region, covalent bond breaks down and this electron will excited to conduction band. As the APD is operating with very much high reverse voltage. Very much high reverse voltage. P side is connected to negative terminal, N side is connected to positive terminal. Your applied voltage is very high, okay, greater than 100 volts, very high voltage. So what happened, whatever this electron and hole pairs are generated, this electron and this hole gets attracted because of this negative terminal towards the P side, and this electron gets attracted by this electron gets attracted towards the N side as it is connected to positive terminal. Like this, electron hole pairs are separated before their recombination, because here the external electric field, whatever it is there, the barrier field, that separates the electron hole pairs. Positive charge and negative charge separate by certain distance. So here current will be generated. So that current is called photocurrent. But here what happened in pin diode, this is only working. But in APD, the operating voltage is very high. Whatever this electron generated, this is called primary electron. This primary electron with high speed it will go. Why with high speed it will go? Because your applied voltage is very high. High speed means high velocity. High velocity means high kinetic energy. That kinetic energy, whatever this electron is moving very high speed, that kinetic energy is sufficient to break another covalent bond by collision. That's why secondary electron is produced. You can observe here. First, this is the primary electron generated because of the incident light. This electron is moving in very high field, high voltage. The kinetic energy is very high, sufficient to generate secondary electrons. These electrons also experience the same high field and they have high kinetic energy which is sufficient to break further covalent bonds. Like this, continuously the covalent bonds will break down, large number of charge carriers are available. This is called impact ionization. So primary electron impacts and produces the secondary electron. Further, the secondary electrons impact and produces the further more electrons. Like this, the charge carriers multiplication takes place. This is called impact ionization, or else you can call it as avalanche effect. Because of this avalanche effect, the output current is not linear. Whatever the current produced, usually this is called photocurrent. Because of the incident light, we are getting the current. That's why we are calling it as photocurrent. This photocurrent is equals to number of charge carriers produced into number of charge carriers produced into charge. This is the same formula even for photodiode, but in this case power m will keep. What is this power m? Multiplication factor means how many number of charge carriers are produced, because initially primary electron is there, that produces secondary. Furthermore, how much multiplication takes place, that represented by this m. This is about the APD working. Because of this high operating voltage, APD has greater level of sensitivity. It can identify a very low level light. This is only causes major application in optical fiber communications. Nowadays, we are depending on data. Every day we are using internet. In the internet, the data is transmitted. So the data receivers, we are using these APDs. And because of this high operating voltage, it will respond quickly. The major drawback of PIN diode is its responsivity and sensitivity. Those two are achieved in APD by applying higher voltage. When you apply higher voltage, automatically noise will be more. So there are different types of APDs available. So we can made APDs by using silicon, but whenever you made with silicon, those are used to detect the light of the range 400 nm to 1100 nm, near infrared around. This is nothing but visible to near infrared. When you made this APD with indium gallium arsenide, this is a like a compound semiconducting material. So if you use that one, you can detect the light in the range near infrared to short infrared. So in infrared radiation detection purpose, we will use indium gallium arsenide. If you use germanium APD, germanium based APD, then this can be used up to 800 nm to around 1800 nm. So depending on your light detection, light means which is visible or which may not visible. Visible region light is like around 700 nm from 380 nm. This is the light you can visualize with your naked eye. Remaining light or radiation, it cannot visualize to our human eye. So human eye, whatever it cannot see, even such type of lights also we can detect by using APD. So these are the advantages of the APD. Greater level of sensitivity. This can be achieved because of the high operating voltage. Quick response time. Why? Because of the high operating voltage. Large internal gain. What is the meaning of internal gain? When you applied high voltage, then what happened? The charge multiplication is taking place. Not only because of the incident photon, whatever the electron moving inside, that produces the secondary electron, further electrons. This is nothing but internal gain. And major disadvantages of this APD is operating voltage is very high. When operating voltage is very high, its noise is also high. And the output is not linear because impact ionization is taking place. With same intensity light, two times you apply two different currents, you will get. That depends on your impact ionization. And low reliability. And you cannot use much convenient how we are using as like our PIN diodes. Applications, you can see high speed laser scanners, we can use these APD diodes. In positron emission transmission scanners also we are using. In barcode readers we are using laser light. That laser light receiver is nothing but our APD diode. And even in speed guns also we are using this optical fiber communication. This is the major application. Even along with this, we are using in automatic street lights nowadays. Okay, now our GHMC is using like street lights on flyovers. What happened? Those flyovers, so when the morning 6 a.m. the lights automatically get off. What happened? The intensity of the light is increasing. So when 6 a.m. after that what happened? The intensity of the sunlight is increasing. When intensity of sunlight is increasing, the current, photo current will increase. When photo current is increasing, switch will automatically off. In this manner, we will use automatic street light switch on and off also. This APD we are using. So that is about the PIN and APD working, structure, advantages, disadvantages, and applications. So these are the references what I used. You can observe biases we are using and radio electronics. Okay, and these are the different references I used to make this PPT. Thank you.